Good evening, friends. It's Ethan Cook, one of the deacons here at First Baptist Church of West Edmiston. We hope that your Holy Week is going well. Despite stay-at-home, shelter-in-place, we're not supposed to go anywhere. We still hope that you're able to spend time thinking about the Holy Week. Us Christians call it the Holy Week as we remember the last week that Jesus spent on earth here with his disciples. And as we lead up onto this week to Easter, we've got Good Friday, the day that he dies, the ultimate sacrifice. And then a few days later, he leaves an empty tomb as he conquers death. Easter is the climax of our faith. We get excited about it. I don't know about your family. We normally dress up a little bit on Sundays. But on Easter, we put on our best. We get so excited because we're celebrating the ultimate display of love for humanity, as God sent himself in the form of a human named Jesus to sacrifice his perfect life on a cross, a death that he didn't deserve. But he did it so that our sin, our selfishness, our wrongdoings, our disobedience can be wiped away if we believe in him. I don't know about you, but that's the gospel in a nutshell. That is why we go to church every day, not just on Sundays. Yet, on Easter, more people show up at church than any other week. Most of them are believers, some of them aren't. But they want to know, what is it about Jesus? What's so special about him? Pastor Ben yesterday has been encouraging us to be reading through the last week of Jesus' life. And you'll find that in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are the four Gospels, the first four books of the New Testament. And we want to continue to encourage you. And if you don't know where to start, I would encourage you to start in Luke chapter 20, as it starts the last few days of Jesus' life. And I want you to focus on Jesus, but also focus on his followers. And the confusion that must have been going through their head is they find out one of them is going to betray him. We find out that Jesus is predicting that he's going to die, and the disciples are like, what are you talking about? No, things are going great. But Jesus is God. He knows what's going to happen. And he was trying to explain to them a little bit, a glimpse of what he knew. And so as we celebrate Easter, we want to encourage you as a family to be spending extra time thinking about Christ, thinking about his love, thinking about what his love, his ultimate sacrifice on the cross has done for us. So I want to challenge you to comment below. Tell us what you and or your family has been learning in Easter. Maybe what's sticking out to you? What is God teaching you as you are focusing on him and reading through the scriptures about his last days? So for me, I have one. And recently I've just been amazed at he did something I can't do. None of us can do. He conquered death. And for us humans, we might get 90 years if we're lucky, maybe 100. But once we're dead, for multiple days we're dead. Okay, our life's over. But Jesus conquered death. And so it's just amazing. It shows to me that he's not just a human. He wasn't just a cool guy. He was more than that. He was God in the flesh. So I want to read a quick passage out of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 12 through 14. But if it is preached that Christ has been raised from the dead, how can some of you say that there is no resurrection from the dead? If there is no resurrection from the dead, then not even Christ can be raised. And then this is the important verse that just is really sticking out to me. Verse 14. And if Christ has not been raised, our preaching is useless, and so is your faith. But thankfully, we celebrate Easter. We celebrate God conquering death, God shedding his blood to cover our selfishness so that we can be reconciled back to him. So that's what I've been getting out of reading and spending time focusing on Christ. But I want to ask you, and again, I want to challenge you to comment below. What is it that God is teaching you? What is it that God is showing you as we get closer to Easter?